Okay, so you might be wondering why I'm looking at the chart of a dying meme coin, and I was wondering the same thing, but here we are. I'm finally gonna do it. So if you don't know who I am, I leverage trade. Um, I make sure to play with risk management. It's one of the things that I'm gonna make sure I recommend to you as well. Um, the purpose of this video is to show a play that I have in mind that could produce some pretty substantial gains. But it it does not come without risks, and I do want to provide the caveat that and some evidence for why you shouldn't take the risk. And if you do, make sure you're taking the risk in a safe way, or at least a managed way. And we'll get into that just a little bit. So, what I'm looking at right here is this fantastic little project called Troll. Now, if you're any older than 10 years old, you probably know a little something about this. This is a meme as old as the internet itself. And somebody created a meme coin for it. If I remember correctly, they have secured the rights to the meme coin. I guess that's a thing you can do. Nonetheless, it's very recent. It's only been around for since May, since April, give or take, just a few months old, about 5 months, give or take. And before I get into why you should take the setups I'm going to show you, well, you shouldn't do anything just because I show you, but if it seems interesting enough for you, then by all means, I'm just documenting what I'm doing. So I'm going to give you a little bit of statistics on meme coins, just so that you don't think I'm some sort of zealot or some sort of, uh, advisor for meme coins. I do not suggest anybody invest any significant amount of money into this thing, or any meme coin for that matter. And there's plenty of reasons. So some interesting individuals here did us a favor, and well, this whole thing is fucked up. So three parties have done us a favor of analyzing 1,500 tokens promoted by about 377 influencers on X, Elon Musk's social media. And they found some pretty interesting things. Number one, that most of these meme coins become dead over time. And number two, which is basically the same statistic as number one, which is that most meme coins end up dead. 86% of those happened within the first 3 months, and only about 1% of the actual meme coins produced a 10x gain. So, given that this meme coin's already lasted for about 5 months and hasn't lost 90% of its value, that's a pretty decent sign. Additionally, we have this chart that they generated for us, which is pretty enlightening. It shows that the follower count matters, and the more followers a project has, the worse off it gets. As I'm looking at it right now, their follower count is about 25K. Very small project, very low market cap. So that's a good sign. What else? Oh yeah, there is one thing that they said which was very interesting in the study. It says that note, we were unable to crawl deleted promotional tweets. Meanwhile, numerous influencers have removed promotional tweets that did not provide positive results for their followers. Essentially meaning that they deleted, any influencer's meme coin that died, they probably also deleted their profiles and any of the posts associated with it, which means that the situation is probably a lot worse than it actually is. So these stats might be actually a lot worse. Either way, I say this to say that meme coins are garbage. You should not be investing any significant amount of money into it, and anybody who tells you otherwise is probably not your friend. So, why are we looking at a meme coin, and why do I have long ideas on it? I'm going to show you. So, we already discussed how most of these projects die within the first 3 months. This project's already lasted more than 3 months, which is good. That's a good sign. Additionally, it's got a low follower count, meaning there's still a little more room to grow. So, and it has a technical structure that I favor. If you look at it very simply, there's literally no other way to count this from an Elliott wave perspective. And yes, we're doing TAL memes. Yeah, we've gotten to this point in life. So, very simply, it's just there's no other way to count this, in my opinion, as a simple 5-wave impulse to the upside. That's it. That's all we got. This is most likely a triangle. A, B, C, D, E. And then we have our sharp pullback, A, B, C. It's just like such a clean structure. That's all I got. That's really what it's got going for it. We have an A, a B, and a C. Very nice, very clean, very simple. That's it. Which gives us one final push to the upside, however far that may be. And the way that I've used to determine this sort of thing is by taking a trend-based fib extension from the wave 1 to the wave 2. Or you can take it as low as A wave bottom right here. And you get this 1.618 target around the 80 cent region, which is pretty cool because that aligns with a unit bias. Unit bias is an interesting thing because typically traders will front run levels. I've noticed, at least in my experience, that traders will front run levels that align with even or odd numbers. So $1 is a very important number. It's the same with when Bitcoin rejected at 100K. That's just a significant number to people. So everybody who's invested down here or investing at this low here, they're going to be looking at $1 and they're going to look to front run it, sell just before it. So you can expect the price to stall just below it, which is why I like this 1.618 aligning there. So that's something to pay attention to. And I already have all this stuff labeled here, so I'm going to delete all of it and bring out the TA. So this is my price target, this 80 cent area. And here's some trend lines I drew, which are very nice to see. We have also this pivot high. In the case that this is a diagonal instead, right, we have this wave 2, a wave 4, the top of wave 1, and then wave 3. And we have this leading diagonal structure here. And let's say it bottomed right there. I don't think so, but potentially could have. And we have is this region that aligns quite well with right here and the interaction of the upper trend line. So that's something interesting. The structure is just so clean, and it's one of those meme coins that I've looked at and I go, wow, that's a surprisingly clean structure. Most of them do not look like this. So very simple 5-wave impulse. And so I have some ideas for the Elliott wave theory, and I'll zoom into it so you can take a look. We've already there's so from the zoomed out perspective, we already have the A wave and the B wave completed here, and I don't see any other way to count this as a triangle. You can try to, say this is the B wave. It doesn't really change anything because we're still looking for this impulse to the downside to mark off the C wave, which is cool. That means that somewhere around here we should expect some sort of pullback, and this pivot high stands out. This pivot low right here stands out as well. The areas of interest. This one particularly lines up with this pivot high as well, and it's close to lining up with that one. So here are the long ideas I have. Number one, let's take this off. Number one, we get either a wave 4, and like this is some sort of flat perhaps, and we get a wave 4 up here, or wave 4 is already in, which makes sense with the law of alternation, that we have a shallow pullback and then a sharp pullback, and the final 5th wave that accompanies that, which is cool. This also aligns with higher time frame ideas I have for Bitcoin, which involves us having this completed corrective structure finishing sometime at the end of this month. Therefore, seeing another move down on Bitcoin would coincide quite nicely with another move down here. And so this is a particular level of interest for me. And if we target these highs, this is a 37 risk to reward trade. You can loosen up the stop loss a lot more if you're not comfortable with it. But because I'm going to be taking 2 setups, I have this deeper retracement as well. I'm going to opt to play the tighter stop loss as a result. And you don't have to play it this way. You can totally just encompass the entire thing in one trade, and it's still a 15 risk to reward. That's phenomenal. But I'm gonna opt for 2 different setups just so I can optimize my reward a little bit. So I'm willing to risk exactly 2% of my account for this. And this is what I was alluding to earlier, is that this is a fucking meme coin, all right? Like, let's just remember that. So let's play things safe. You know, if you do plan on getting in on this, I welcome you to try it. The structure just seems very reasonable, and I'll be definitely taking these. Shout out to my boy Jay for letting me know. Only risk a small amount of your account size for a trade like this, and yeah. Other than that, like, I think that pretty much covers it, man. I hope you guys take me serious. Don't get wiped out doing this. But hey, good luck. Oh, you know what? Just before I finish, I do want to discuss profit targets, at the very least, because you know these sorts of projects do like you know, anything in crypto or any asset for the most part likes to retrace to these 618s, Fibonacci retracement. So we take one all the way down to here. You have this nice alignment with a swing high like that. So a reasonable, and also the trend line that's there. So a very reasonable profit target when price comes back up is somewhere around here, somewhere around up here. There are areas you may want to consider taking profits, and I will be marking it out on my chart as well. TP1. Now, trending intersections are time-based, so what that means is that depending on how early or how late the move happens, like how quickly we see price come up here versus it taking a while, you can see how there's a difference in how price interacts with the trend line. So that's something to keep in mind, and we'll be covering it more as data presents itself. So very important to keep that in mind. So you may want to be cognizant of that and perhaps take profits on the 382 if it happens to, you know, take a while for price to kind of get up there, do something like that. There might just be a much bigger rejection than you were expecting. So either way, I would probably take profits around the 618 regardless. That's gonna be a TP1, very short, very small amount, and leave the rest running for much higher levels, particularly this 80 cent range. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. Hopefully this one works. We'll see what happens. Peace out. So funny enough, as I was recording this video, literally within about 30 seconds, the price just shot up approximately 50%. Here it is. This is the 15-second chart, by the way. The price just shot up like crazy. So still, you know, there's a lot of people FOMOing in now, and the price is aggressively moving up. So assuming that these highs hold, this structure is still valid for a move down and a completion for a fifth wave. Otherwise, a breakout from here and continuation to the upside signifies that the bottom is in, and this meme coin's about to run. So, and this is an important lesson here on FOMO, not getting in. You know, the fear of missing out. That's what that means. And so now is not the time to be jumping in. The opportunity's lost, potentially. So I'm still going to put out the video regardless, because these levels are still valid. We'll update this as it progresses. But like I said, if this high breaks, then what we do is we move this C to here and this 5 to here, and this is just a completed uh, impulse like that. And at that point, this thing is just going to run. And so perhaps it may be wise um, to wait for some sort of pullback to get in. If you really, really still want to chase it, because there's a right now it's meeting resistance at the 382. If it, if it ends up bouncing in the more bullish scenario, right? If it ends up bouncing off of this 382 and comes down, then we get our first impulse to the upside, and you can catch it on a pullback, something like this, on a respective 618 retracement. So I'm not gonna leave you guys empty-handed here, so you can see how I would play this, depending on how price goes. But yeah, this is assuming if the high breaks, right? Because if we have right now this bearish structure is still valid, so I'm gonna play it as such. But if this high breaks that we have marked as wave 2, really, you should just it'd probably be best to just base it off of there. If that high breaks, then you probably want to look for some sort of 618, 786 retracement and just ride it up to the top. This is the issue with meme coins. I'm telling you, meme coins are not trusted assets. Just due to the fact that they are such low market cap, they can be manipulated quite easily. A 15-second chart shouldn't look like that, right? This literally happened just because a handful of buyers put in millions of dollars, and just rightfully so, it's at support. So we'll see what happens. I'm gonna continue updating this as time goes on, and yeah, we'll see what happens. It's still a setup I'm interested in.